Like, who knows what this does for his development? Like, is he in a better spot for his career because he's had these struggles 96 plate appearances in? Or would he be better crushing double A, triple A pitching, climbing the ladder, and working his way up? That's hard to tell. Cam Smith's at 96 plate appearances. This is close enough, and it's a natural time to talk about it because the Astros have the day off. So it feels like the natural time to talk about it. And Cam Smith's going to play tomorrow night probably. He's going to play over the weekend. So by the time we come back on Monday, he's going to be well over 100 plate appearances. So Cam Smith's at 96 plate appearances. Let me throw the numbers at you because everybody loves numbers when it comes to baseball. 96 plate appearances for Cam Smith. Does have 3 homers and 10 ribbies. His slash numbers, .212 batting average, .302 on base, .365 slugging. If you need a former math major to do the math for the OPS, it's at .667, and his OPS plus is at 90. And we know the league average is always rounded to 0. Cam Smith, 96 plate appearances in blankers. Was it the right decision to have him on the big league club?
I think it was. I think it was the right decision to have him on the big league club because I think sooner rather than later, whether it works out completely this time around or not, this kid's on the fast track to be in the big leagues. And I think it's also because of the fact that with what you were faced with, what your outfield could look like to start the season, and the way he performed in spring training, he seemed like he was the best option for the team at the time, who looked like they had a very much less than outfield. So it hasn't worked out the way everybody, in the Cinderella story would have loved to seen it work out, so far. But at the same time, I still think I support the fact that it was the right decision.
Would it have been a Cinderella story for one of the top prospects in baseball that was the centerpiece of the Kyle Tucker trade to be good?
Yeah, I think it would be because of the fact that it's the situation he's coming into where the expectation was it wouldn't be this year and it would be somewhere down the road where he would be a big leaguer. And the fact that he would have been the right guy at the absolute right time with a team that didn't want to spend any more money, that had some issues in the outfield. And then all of a sudden, if he just took off, now I think it would have been a Cinderella story.
Doesn't the Cinderella have to be like an underdog?
I don't know how you define it. I just think if it's coming out of nowhere where you didn't expect it for this season, and it's somewhat of a savior to save the day in a spot where you desperately need him, then I think it fits the bill.
Oh, yeah, okay. Agree to disagree. I wouldn't call a top prospect in baseball and the centerpiece and a first-round draft pick Cinderella. I would call like Mauricio Dubon hitting 300 like a Cinderella story, or Chas McCormick like batting 5th on this team, or Jake Myers could even be like an underdog story because somebody who is doubted as an offensive player getting off to a good offensive start for the second year in a row. This isn't anything new. If spring training mattered, Justin Dearden would still be in baseball. Justin Dearden a few years ago knocked the cover off the baseball and had a spring training very similar to Cam Smith, and they decided to keep Corey Julks over Dearden, and then Dearden didn't have a good minor league season and is now fizzled out and is completely out of baseball. I don't put much merit on spring training numbers. I think that it's overwhelmingly, and yes, we have the benefit of hindsight 2020, and we have the benefit of revisionist history, all of that, but this is the point of the season. We said we were going to have this conversation. I've been biting my tongue. All 96 plate appearances of this. This in no way was the right decision for the Houston Astros on multiple fronts. First, on the Cam Smith front, who knows what this does for his development? Is he in a better spot for his career because he's had these struggles 96 plate appearances in? Or would he be better crushing double A, triple A pitching, climbing the ladder, and working his way up? That's hard to tell. That's hard to, put a value on or anything like that. But it started to clock on him when he's giving you below average offensive production. So now you're going to have Cam Smith for less long. He's going to become a free agent sooner than he would have if you kept him down in the minors and allowed him to grow. Secondly, it's been a negative for the team. You mentioned the outfield options, and I agree with you. There weren't many great outfield options at the start of the season. Now, Jose Altuve moved to the outfield. Yordan Alvarez doesn't play much left field, but plays a little bit of left field. But Zach DeZenzo has clearly outplayed Cam Smith. Mentioned the numbers. Cam Smith 667 OPS, 90 OPS plus. Zach DeZenzo's at 737 with a 110 OPS plus. So 96 plate appearances to Cam Smith would be better suited for Zach DeZenzo. Chas McCormick hasn't been great, but Chas McCormick's got on base 34% of the time. Like, is there much of a difference between the production from Cam Smith and Chas McCormick? No, not really, and not substantial enough to burn a year of club service or potentially stunt his development and growth, which we don't know that is the case. But on both fronts, him being an Astro for a significant period of time, now it's going to be a year less, and also your offense has suffered with Cam Smith in it. So revisionist history, hindsight 2020, jury for me is in. The verdict is in from the jury of Branham. Bad decision by Dana Brown.
Okay. I see it differently for the reasons I gave, but also because of the fact that, look, I had concerns about what this is going to do to him mentally, and confidence-wise. But at the same time, I think that the kid checked all the boxes in terms of where he's at maturity-wise, regardless of his age, and I think he'll be fine. I just think that the other good thing in this scenario is DeCenzo has shown that he is ready. He is the guy. He's also learning the outfield, but he looks like you can just plug and play him, and he has been rolling, as you said. So I think in spring training, and I'm with you, look, and I know that there was everybody charting and saying how many real major league pitchers did he face when he was putting up good numbers, and that was legit, that he wasn't facing great major league pitching. But at the same time, I just think that, it was for them. This was, even from a Dana perspective, this was the trade that he made, and this was the centerpiece, and this was a chance to get him right there and throw him in. Because again, I didn't like the other options, but it hasn't turned out. So in revisionist history, was it the wrong decision? It's easy to say.
The DeCenzo, I don't know if that's a good thing, though. Like, you said it's a good thing, which, Zach DeCenzo proving he's a player is a good thing. Agreed on that front. But he should have had all these at-bats. There's no reason that Zach DeCenzo should have almost half of the at-bats that Cam Smith has. So, yes, it's good that Zach DeCenzo has, forced to spot his hand, which, DeCenzo's been okay. He's been above average. He hasn't been, Barry Bonds or Babe Ruth or anything like that, but he's been quite a bit better than Cam Smith. So that's part of my point is that, look, you're not going to lose the season by May 8th, and the Astros 18-18, they're only 36 games in. They're not even to the quarter post of the season. So I get all of that. But in terms of what gave you your best chance to win baseball games in the first 36, Zach DeCenzo should have Cam Smith's at-bats, and Cam Smith should have Jacob Melton's at-bats for the spacers.
And I understand that. I just think we didn't know what to expect of DeCenzo. We didn't know that he was going to do what he is now subsequently doing. And look, I think that whether it's right or wrong, I think that they got caught up in the hype train too of everyone's eyes were focused on this kid and Dana, loving the fact that with his reputation as a talent evaluator, this is the guy. And then because he was hitting so well, this is a great story too. And maybe that was right, maybe that wasn't right, maybe that happened or it didn't. In reality, it seems like that also was swaying them, and they felt like, yeah, we're going to do this right now.
Isn't that a negative?
A negative.
Isn't that a negative as a general manager point
Absolutely.
of view? Here's my darling, and because I made a trade for the darling, we're going to rush him to the big leagues, which is going to be counterproductive from a team front in the first 36, 40, 50 games of the year. And then, oh yeah, by the way, he's going to become a free agent earlier because I needed to dangle my carrot out for everybody to see.
It's absolutely a negative. But I also think that I've seen it before in sports. We know that general managers are going to be highly defensive and protective of guys that they drafted and guys that they're on the record with, and they're going to give them multiple opportunities. So is it the wrong way to think in this case? Sure. But is it possible? I think absolutely.